Thanks for joining us for the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. In this episode 186, we talk Clive Barker news, what's new in Clive Barker Archive, Simon Bamford movie news, Peter Atkins stories, and Candyman Blu-Ray release news. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination shop is dedicated to benefiting the Arts and Medicine program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. Up to 50% of the proceeds will support the program where artist Don Bertram volunteers monthly. Please join us in donating to the program at Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's a link in the show notes on the main website at clivebarkercast.com that will take you where you need to go to get one of his prints or art books and help out this wonderful program. Don Bertram just teased the entire month of October is going to be very busy. Mark your calendars and spend it with Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination, scheduled to come. So we'll be interested to see what he's got going on there. And thanks again to Don Bertram for sponsoring this episode. This is episode 186 of the Clive Barker Podcast. And this is a news episode, which we haven't done in a little while.
That's right. So we're recording this Sunday morning, bright and early.
Yeah, right.
For you, it's not even 8 o'clock yet. And,
no, it's 7 o'clock.
Yeah, for me, it's like 8 o'clock on a Sunday morning. We do this for you.
Right.
Anyway, I don't mean to sound like I'm kind of don't want to do this, but hey, welcome to episode 186.
Yeah.
So, as usual, we have some news from the Reef, right, Ryan?
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up really quick. How we've been putting the news, reading the news into the podcast feed, and for subscribers out there, what do you think? Do you like that so far? Do you go, oh, look, there's a new episode, and then you go, wait a minute, this is only 40 seconds. But I thought, we got the idea from Ed Martinez, and I kind of like it. I think it's neat.
Right. It's kind of more of an accessibility thing for people who aren't able to read because they're visually impaired or blind or. So this is something that we felt could help those people get a chance to stay updated with the news from our blog. So I think that, yeah.
And it's also more than that, because I think, when I look at all the podcasts that I listen to, and I try to think about, okay, how many of these do I visit the blog? And it's like 0. So,
Well, from my experience, most of those podcasts, their blog posts are just their episodes. So, in that sense, I think we're more of a news/podcast outlet thing, I guess. But for example, for the Hellraiser podcast, they pretty much their website was down before their episodes were over. Their website was no longer working, and they're still making episodes. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think so. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I think it's a good option. We'll do it as long as we can, and just give us some feedback.
Yeah. And it's been kind of cool. It takes a little work, just posting these things as they come up, and of course, as the news gets done in the morning while I'm at work, so I can't put these little audio things up until the evening when I get home again.
Well, at first we were discussing whether we should just leave those audio files on the blog or whether we should include them on the feed. But then, Ryan, you said that was probably best because that would give the people who subscribe to it and don't visit the blog a chance to also get the news, right?
Yeah, right. And then, yeah, exactly. Just people that subscribe or people that follow the YouTube channel because they end up on there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, let us know what you think. And our first news item is the Clive Barker Archive. Phil and Sarah on the Clive Barker Archive website have been adding images all for the whole month of July. So this was written on the 2nd of July, but they've actually done a whole lot of them so far.
So they've been adding lots of pictures and behind the scenes and posters and stuff, artwork. So I think for the news article, Rob used a image of the Crazy Face theater program from 1982, and it's a beautiful piece of art by Clive Barker. And I think if you have the Shadows in Eden book, you're already familiar with the artwork for this because it shows up in that book. But it's always nice to see the actual program, how it looked like, and it's a beautiful thing. I love these updates from the Clive Barker Archive. They're really, really good.
Yeah, super cool. And speaking of Clive Barker Archive, we've got their new play scripts have come out, and they've even made a contest on Twitter. So if you retweet their contest tweet, then you have a chance to win both Hunters in the Snow and Crazy Face.
That's wonderful. Again, like you said on the last episode, this is one of these play scripts has already come out before, but the other has not. So that's always an interesting thing for completists and people who want to read more Clive Barker stuff. Yeah. And yeah, they did something like this before, haven't they? A giveaway. I think I remember for the first couple of play scripts, they also did a competition at Goodreads where I think you had to just enter the giveaway. And you had to have a Goodreads account, I think. And this one's on Twitter. So, that one comes direct from Phil and Sarah. So good opportunity. Even though the play scripts are £5, 5 Great Britain pounds each, not a bad deal at all. So, they always come chock full of stuff at the end with notes and pictures and photos from like the 80s and 70s and stuff like that. So.
And to Phil and Sarah, we would have retweeted you even if it wasn't a contest. So. That's what we do. So I was happy to do that, and I got on my other accounts and retweeted also.
And also now you can not only buy them from the Clive Barker Archive website, but you can also order them from Amazon. So we've included that in the article.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
And
I
you
think
can go on Amazon.
Amazon UK, right?
Right. And I'm looking at it right now, and I see, for example, The Magician on Amazon has 5 stars.
That's cool.
That is very cool.
I guess that also means that these aren't a limited run, right? Which is really nice to see. Maybe they can just always keep printing more.
Everything's limited, I guess. But, I don't know how many issues they've made. I don't know if they do second runs for this or if it's like their memory, prophecy, and fantasy books where when it's gone, it's gone. So I don't know. My advice to you is just order them as quickly as possible to get your copy because these are pretty much author's editions. So... Yeah, they're really good. And I'm looking forward to reading Hunters in the Snow because that wasn't in, like we said, Forms of Heaven or Incarnations. So this is the first time it's been in print for the public. Mm-hmm.
And next up, Simon Bamford is in a movie. So, of course, we found this out from Laurie Markle Bichet's
Simon Bamford fan page.
Simon Bamford fan page. And so you can go to the there's an Indiegogo for this movie. You and I just watched the trailer a little bit ago, and it's unfortunately Simon's not in the trailer, and there's not a whole lot about the movie that you can tell from the trailer.
Right. It's just a couple, and Tom and Joe. They've been together since their late teens. And here's the synopsis from the movie. You Are My Sunshine charts their humble beginnings in a world only just waking up to gay rights, a place where fear and isolation exist, all the way to the present day. Through Joe's sister Ethel, who never accepted her brother's lifestyle, as modern day brings further conflict, Tom and Joe's story will be shown from its first monumental day all the way to its loving last, and all against an ever-evolving LGBT landscape. So it seems like an ambitious movie. It's about relationships. It's going to be, it's filmed in the West Midlands with a local cast and crew that are volunteering to do this, and it's on Indiegogo. So Simon Bamford will play a role in this, and project owner is Troy Dennison from Walsall, United Kingdom. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. But up to this moment, they have a flexible goal of 5,000 Great Britain pounds, and they've raised 597, and they have 9 days left. So if you want to support this project, go to Indiegogo and pledge your support.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing that one. And Peter Atkins has a new story, and I was looking at this. This is one of those book anthologies that's done for charity, right? I think this is like for animal rights or animal protection.
Yeah, every year William Wu Books publishes a chapbook for animal charities and launches it at the San Diego Comic-Con. So this year, Pete's going to have a story in this edition, and he's going to be there with more fellow contributors like Craig Johnson, Kelly Dunn, Stephen Woodworth, Peggy Wu, Corina Bechko, and the poet William Ashbless, who has passed away, apparently. But it's courtesy of his literary executors, Tim Powers and Jim Blaylock. So one of his poems is going to be in it. So it'll be $15, and the cover is made by a really cool artist, one of my favorites, Bill Sankovich. So
he's got a rhino with a little heart on his horn.
Yeah, probably someday. That's the only way we're going to be able to see a rhino is going to be in a picture.
Oh, yeah, that's sad. Yep. So yeah, but awesome. You know, we always like to follow Pete Atkins and what he's doing, and so that's something to watch
Absolutely.
out for.
Yeah, you can buy this at the Comic-Con in San Diego, and remember, the white rhino you save might be your own.
Yeah. So
that's actually not a laughing matter.
Right.
Oh boy.
So but yes, so Candyman. We recently, before there was a hint that there was going to be a Candyman Blu-ray, we talked about this before because Tony Todd and Bernard Rose were talking about it on Twitter. But now there's actually been an announcement by Arrow, and so far all they have announced is it's a UK release.
Yeah, they went all out with this edition, right? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. My cat's on top of my desk, and he's trying to look through the blinds. Let me just get this open for him.
Yeah, it looks really good. We know some friends already, looking to pre-order it rather than wait and see if there's going to be a U.S.
Are you
edition.
kidding me? This is great. Look at this. Look at all this stuff on it. Okay, Lucifer, get out of the way. Psst. Hey. Okay, Lucifer is right on top. Get thee behind me, Lucifer. Yeah. I have to pick her up. These are the joys of live podcast recording.
Yep.
Okay, get out of here. There. Okay, so this was announced at Bloody Disgusting, and the specs look pretty good. Yeah, like in August. No, it wasn't August. What am I talking about? It was in May. So May, our contributor and team member Marcus Williams had said that Tony Todd had tweeted about the 4K restoration, and then he announced that it was going to have a commentary by Bernard Rose, and now here it is, and it's 25 Great Britain pounds, which is also a good deal, I guess. I don't know how long it's going to be up for because these things usually sell out, but a lot of bonus features, right? Yeah.
I'm looking at it. It's going to be in 5.1 surround. It's going to have Bernard Rose and the DP Anthony B. Richmond doing an audio commentary. Lobby card reproductions. A new cover art by Gary Pullen, which is a cool looking cover with Candyman, featuring prominently there with his hook over in the city. The city buildings look like honeycombs.
Yeah, they look like beehives.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fully illustrated collector's booklet with new writing on the film by festival programmer Michael Blyth. Another limited edition perfect bound booklet reproducing the original hand-painted storyboards by Bernard Rose. Brand new commentary with Bernard Rose and Tony Todd.
Yeah.
Another one with Stephen Jones and Kim Newman. I wonder if it's the same Stephen Jones that made the Shadows.
It must be.
It must be, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
and the horrorology anthology and all that. Okay, so Be My Victim, a brand new interview with Tony Todd. It Was Always You, Helen, a brand new interview with Virginia Manson. The Writing on the Wall, the production design of Candyman, a brand new interview with production designer Jane Ann Stewart. Forbidden Flesh, the makeup effects of Candyman. Brand new interviews with special makeup effects artist Bob Keane, Gary J. Tunnicliffe, Mark Coulier. A Story to Tell.
Gary Tunnicliffe involved with Candyman?
Apparently, yeah. I mean, he was in Image Animation at the time, right? Image LA. Story to Tell, Clive Barker's The Forbidden. Writer Douglas E. Winter on Clive Barker's seminal Books of Blood and Candyman's source story, The Forbidden. So I don't know if this is going to be... Do you think this is going to be like a video feature?
It's got to be, you would think, but... But yeah,
okay.
Maybe it's text, but it seems like that kind of went out of style, with DVDs. Putting text stuff into the special features.
That would be too much anyway. Urban Legend, Unwrapping Candyman, a critical analysis of the film with writers Tananarive Due and Stephen Barnes, and of course, the theatrical trailer.
Right.
You remember when DVDs were coming out for the first time, and it was like bonus features. Cast and crew info, theatrical trailer.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, oh, that's awesome bonus features.
Well, even Laserdiscs would have the trailer. They just stick it at the end after the credits.
And last but not least, 3 rarely seen Bernard Rhodes short films, newly restored in HD. Looking at Alice, 30 minutes, 1978. A Bomb with No Name on It, 3 minutes, 1976.
3 minutes.
And The Wreckers, 5 minute long.
Wow. So those last two have to be like short, like student films or something. 3 minutes and 5 minutes.
Yeah, 78, I guess. It's probably stuff like, hey, Mr. Rose, what else can we put on the Blu-ray? Oh, I just found these things in my garage the other day. We could put that in there. I'm sure they're going to be great.
But this edition is awesome. And actually, I don't think I have anything that can read Region 2. So, but there is kind of the fear that this will sell out, and what if it never comes out in the West?
It's going to come.
Not in the West, but I mean in North America.
It's going to come out. I'm pretty sure it's going to come out. I mean, look at the Scarlet Box, right? It was Arrow, came out. Everybody was losing their minds, like, oh no, it's only coming out in England. Boom, here it is.
Well, this could be a rights issue. Because
also, could be. That's true.
Scream Factory did Candyman 2. I mean, if they could have done Candyman 1, they would have, a while ago.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. So, yeah, if anybody out there knows the answer to this, whether or not it's easy or hard for Candyman 1 to get released in Blu-ray, I mean, someone has to own the rights for this. It has to be a big studio, so.
Yeah. Well, and I think... I had read that Bernard Rose said, oh, yeah, this is also going to be coming to the West with Scream Factory. But,
You mean to America?
Yeah.
Right.
UK is the West.
Right.
North America, I should say. I get, I read so much news about Japanese games coming to the West.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Super Famicom.
Yeah.
They should have made like a Rawhead Rex for the Super Famicom. That would have been something.
Right.
Right.
He just keeps picking people up and biting their face.
Yeah. Anyway, so thanks to Denny Stewart and Bloody Disgusting for the news. Rob made an awesome article about it. Rob has been doing all these like audio posts for his news blog posts as well. So that's really, really cool. Thanks for that.
Yeah. So that's cool. I'm looking forward to this one. This, it's been really good for these Blu-ray re-releases. I mean, Rawhead Rex came out of nowhere, and the Hellraiser Scarlet Box was amazing. The Scream Factory Nightbreed, of course, we've talked about that for like tons and tons of episodes, and then and then Lord of Illusions on
Lord of Illusions
was great. Mm-hmm.
And Arrow also released Rawhead Rex.
Yeah, right. So now that's in the U.S.
In the U.K.
The U.K.
Yeah. It came out in the U.S. first, right? And then it came out in the U.K. with that new cover that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 25 Great Britain pounds. Go to the arrowfilms.com website, and it's up for sale there. It's a neat package. It's got all these things like, not just a booklet, but it's going to have an actual little book. And maybe that stuff that we were saying a while ago about Clive Barker's The Forbidden and Douglas E. Winter's chapter on Candyman, that might be in that little book. That makes sense.
Yeah. And one thing we had talked about before is that there is a Candyman Blu-ray, but it's Canadian. I guess it's a really poor transfer. So okay. It doesn't really look any better than a DVD. Right.
So, wow, 4K transfer, that's got to look beautiful. Now you can see the wires on Candyman's back as he is catapulted out of the doctor's office through the window.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see that on the DVD. Now imagine that on Blu-ray. Yeah. And you can see the giant swarm of bees coming up from behind the city.
Yeah, right. Look at each individual bee.
Yeah. On your gigantic 4K TV.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. So that's great. Tony Todd, Bernard Rose, Candyman news there for Candyman fans. For a long time, there wasn't a lot about Candyman that fans could get, right? I mean, there wasn't a lot of merchandising. There wasn't. Now you even have. Isn't there like a little action figure of Candyman?
Oh, right. Was there? I think there was. Right. Was the one of those Todd McFarlane
toys? Yeah. There was one. Here it is. Oh wow, it's available on the internet. It costs about almost $50. Yeah. But that's pretty cool. Wow. Yeah, he's got a little mirror kind of thing, like a pedestal. It's from Movie Maniacs.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the only one that came out, right?
I think so too. Yeah.
All right. So cool. Yeah, for a long time there wasn't a lot of merchandise for Candyman fans, so this is always welcome.
Yeah. And on the site, you can find we did a quick interview with Joe Manco, which the audio was in one of our previous episodes, but there's a video up of it as well. And you can see why I don't do video stuff, because my camera obviously doesn't work very well.
I'm sorry about that. I recorded that stream, and I kept wondering. It's like, is Ryan's camera like stuck? And it was stuck for most of it. Yeah. And it's just you like looking at the computer board. It's like, oh God.
Oh no.
I caught you at a wrong time there. Yeah. It kind of got stuck, but that's okay. I mean, it was just to bring more awareness to Joe Manco's The Torture Project. So It's still up, people. It's still up for at least another month and something change.
Maybe my computer can't handle capturing the audio and streaming the video at the same time.
It could be, yeah. So that was cool. We also put that on YouTube.
Yeah, and then we had mentioned this before, that you and I were interviewed on the Radio of Horror radio show in
yes, by Dr. Chris.
Yeah. So now there's a YouTube video up of that, and it's a cool video. He puts up little still images throughout the video, illustrating what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really fun. Dr. Chris Denmead from Worcester, Massachusetts, WCW 91.3 FM. His show is the longest running horror show in New England. So It was a real treat to talk to him and be able to, bring some awareness to some of the projects that Clive Barker has been doing that most people probably, if they don't follow us, they probably don't know about it, because, at this point, some of these releases are so small scale that, some people out there, if they're not actively following Clive Barker's news, then they probably won't won't be on their radar. So it was nice to bring that to a wider audience.
Yeah, it's a good point, because we forget, because we're so used to talking right to the Clive Barker fans, we kind of forget that. I think the general view out there is that Clive's not doing stuff anymore.
Right.
Like he's retired or something.
That's right. So when I was at Texas Fragment Weekend and I was talking to a bunch of Clive Barker fans in line and stuff, I found out from some of them that they weren't aware of some of these like books that came out recently. Like I was showing them like a copy of Chiliad, a meditation. They were like, "Oh, when did that come out?" I was like, "A couple of years ago, maybe."
Yeah, it was like 2014 or something.
Yeah, or some the Cabal Cut Blu-ray, of course, that was small scale. So they were like, "Oh, when did that come out?"
Yeah, right.
And some people didn't even know about the Cabal Cut at all. You know, they still had their Nightbreed theatrical DVDs, and they didn't even know that there was director's cut. And I was like, "Wow,
yeah,
okay, well, you know, I was telling them all about it, and so that was fun to be able to talk to Dr. Chris and bring some awareness to those projects that came out."
Yeah, that was neat. We recently talked about Hellraiser comics on our previous episode.
Right.
Oh, and Rob did a feature on there talking about 2 short stories by Peter Atkins. So that was kind of nice.
Yeah. 2 short stories. One of them is called "The Return of Boy Justice," and by Peter Atkins, and the other one was Stacy and her idiot.
Yeah.
And I think these are a couple of stories that Rob really enjoys from Peter Atkins. So he made a feature about them. It's one of our first Barker Cast presents 2 short stories from Peter Atkins, and it's a very good review. And I think he really shows how much he likes the stories. He says that Return touches the heart. And he highly recommends both of the stories to any rabbit horror and action reader out there. And he says that Peter Atkins has a magical touch to his writings. And I agree. You know, that's why, you know, if you're going to the San Diego Comic-Con, make sure you get that chapbook that's going to have his story there, because I don't know if that's going to be a story that's not going to come out anywhere else. So if you're a Peter Atkins fan, go ahead and get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so good one, Rob. Rob's recently started working longer hours, so we may not be hearing from him as much on the podcast, but he's still pretty active on the blog, so definitely check that out. And so, yeah, that's it for what's going on the website. Coming up soon, we're next week we'll be returning to the Hellraiser comics, talking about 20, issue 20, that has the Neil Gaiman story Wordsworth in it. The Hellraiser 3 adaptation and Spring Slaughter.
Yeah, Spring Slaughter special. So that was interesting. That kind of expanded the mythology a little bit, and I really enjoyed reading that one. It was too bad that Hellraiser had to end in number 20.
Yeah, definitely.
And the Hellraiser 3 adaptation is going to be a doozy to get through, but we'll get there.
Yeah, and then we'll also be moving into, there'll be one more episode after that about Hellraiser comics, and we'll be getting into Galilee. We're going to be talking with Ed Martinez about fanzines in general, and more specifically
Cenobium magazine.
Yeah, Cenobium.
Yeah,
but he was really big into the whole fanzine community, so he knew about them all.
Right. Definitely. Cenobium was one of the longest running magazines of the Hellraiser community. Ran for over 9 years, so it'll be nice to talk to him and hear some of his impressions of conventions and stuff like that, and some of the interviews that he did with people that were related to Hellraiser universe. And he's got some insight about some of these comic books that we're going to be talking about as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So that'll be fun. All right. Well, in this podcast having no beginning, will have no end. Find the show notes for this episode and join the discussion over at www.clivebarkercast.com, where we have news and links to all the ways you can connect with us. You can subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and every other place you can find podcasts. The Clive Barker Podcast is an independent editorial podcast and news blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.